Hello everybody, Nora back again. Today is December 26th, so if you live in a part of the world or if you celebrate it, happy Boxing Day. So Kevin of Storyglyph tagged me in the book PostScript 2018 tag, which was created by Adam of Memento Mori. And one, thank you very much for tagging me, Kevin. This is fucking amazing. I'm always very giddy when people tag me in stuff. And also, the prompts were just fucking brilliant. And I knew I just had to do it. And I had to do it this year because it just seemed fitting to be like, the end of the year tags to just round everything up. Okay, let's just go straight to the first prompt. The first prompt says the longest book you've read this year and the book that took you the longest to finish. And I loved how Adam put this because it's not always the heavy and big books that take you the longest to finish, especially in my case. So the longest book I read this year is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and it falls at about let me see how many pages. 525 pages minus the author's note at the end, which is pretty thick. But this book might be thick, but I finished this book fairly quickly. I remember I started reading it on Saturday night at about 10 p.m. and I was done with it Sunday morning at about 11:30. So it took me roughly 13 and a half hours to get through this book. I did not sleep. I did not eat. I sat and I did not move from that spot until I was done with it. I had some questions and I had some problems, and Inan pissed me the fuck off, but I enjoyed it and I read it in a day straight. The book that took me the longest to finish this year, you all know, I'm certain nobody's surprised at this point, it's Huntress by Malinda Lo. Like I said, this book took me 5 fucking days. It took me 5 days to finish this book, and it's just, how many pages is it? Hold up, let me see. About 371 pages. This book is 371 pages and it took me 5 days. And the biggest book I read this year was about 525 pages and I finished it in 11 and a half hours. So you can see the disparity in both. The second prompt says a book you read in 2018 that was outside your comfort zone. And for me, that would be The Ones with Purpose by Nozizwe Cynthia Jelle. Like, this book was definitely not a book I would have otherwise picked. I picked it because when I was at Arcade this year, the writer was a part of a panel and I enjoyed our talk and I was like, okay, I had to get a book. That was the reason why. This book deals with death, especially terminal illness in a family. Our sister had cancer and like it just took us through the entire process, how she slowly wasted away, how she died at the end. It was very sad and it was very heartbreaking, but this is definitely a book I rarely read terminal illness books because it reads too close to home. And I tend to avoid it because it just makes me very sad. But definitely The Ones with Purpose was a book outside my comfort zone. The third prompt says, how many books did you reread in 2018? Now, this is very interesting. This is very interesting because I'm participating in the Grisha Alongathon, which is a readathon where we are reading all of Lee Badugo's books in the Grisha verse in anticipation of King of Scars that is coming out in January. And I read all the Grishaverse books this year. Yes, I just discovered them this year and I'm reading them all over. In fact, the first time I read them was in October and I'm reading them again in December. So if I were to count them, I'm reading those 5 books. I'm reading those 5 books in 2018. Another book I reread this year has to be one of my favorite books of all time. Fairy Tales for Lost Children by Diriye Osman. It's a collection of short stories all about the gay Somali queer experience and I love it. I read it every year like clockwork. This is one of my favorite books ever. He's one of my favorite authors ever. He has this lyrical cadence to his work. He reads like poetry in prose form. I love this book. I read it every year unfailingly. And then the last set of books I reread this year were the Lost God series by Megan Dare. Now, Megan Dare is one of my favorite authors ever. She writes primarily LGBTQ plus fiction, and the Lost God series, which is a collection of 5 different books, is one of my favorite series of all times. I read it every year religiously. It's fantasy, it's LGBTQ plus, it's beautiful. I love the gods. I love how she mixes mythology in her fantasy. Megan Dare for me does amazing, fantastic world building, and I really, really, really love the series. I read it every year like clockwork. It's like a way of coming home. It gives me comfort, it gives me joy. I love I love them so much. The fourth prompt says favorite reread of 2018. Now this is very hard because, like I already said, I tend to reread my favorite books every year, and it's always hard to pick one out of all my favorites. But I guess for that I'll just pick the one that became my recent favorite, which I'm reading. I've not read it yet, but I intend to reread them along with the rest of the Grishaverse books, which is Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. Like, I am looking forward to reading this book. I love this book. It makes me so fucking happy. And it's just making me look forward to when I finally will get to read it, because I know I will definitely read it before the end of the year. And I know when I do, it will once again be my favorite reread of 2018. And the fifth prompt says a book you read in 2018 that you look forward to reading in the future. And that for me would be my favorite book of 2018, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Now, if you've been on my channel, you know how much I love this book. I adore it. I love it. Every inch of it is perfection. This book owns my heart. It owns my soul. It owns every single part of me. I look forward to rereading it not just like, I look forward to rereading it every year. I definitely know I'm going to be reading it next year, because Dragon Republic is coming out in March, which means that sometimes in February or early March, I'm going to reread this book so I can be in like the right headspace for Dragon Republic. But definitely The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. So the next prompt says favorite single short story or novella that you read in 2018. Now that is a bit difficult for me, because I don't think I actually read a single short story or an actual novella this year. But what I did read and what I am going to choose is going to be What It Means When a Man Falls from the Sky by Leslie Ineka Arima. Now this is a collection of short stories that I read this year, so it's not just a single short story, but it's a short book. It's about 192 pages. I love this book. I found it very heartwarming but very sad and very depressing, and it made me cry, but it also made me fall in love. And Leslie Ineka Arima is definitely going to be in my top lists of favorite short story authors, because I do believe that short story is an art, and not every author can pull off complete worlds and characters that you love and bond with in such a short period of time. And Leslie does this fantastically, brilliantly well. I love her. I love this book. I'm in awe. The next prompt says Mass Appeal, a book you love and you would recommend to a wide variety of readers. And for me, that would be The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Curly Barnhill. Like, I love that book. I found it was magical, it was heartwarming, it was beautiful, it was funny, it was heart-wrenching, it made me feel all the emotions. I love that book. I love every inch of it. I love the fact that it's a middle grade text, so I can recommend it to like younger people, and I can recommend it to adults, because it does not matter what age you are. That is a book you would cherish and love, and that is a book you will keep finding and discovering new things about it with every reread. Like, I love that book. So the next prompt says Specialized Appeal, a book you liked but will be hesitant to recommend to just anyone. And for me, that would be The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Now, I love this book. I adore this book. I love every inch of this book. But I know not just everybody can handle it, because this book goes dark. And when I mean dark, I mean this book goes dark. For a long time, I thought this book was young adult, and I was shocked because the depiction of war in this is brutal in its beauty. But I discovered recently that it's actually filed under new adult/adult fantasy, and I understand, because this is not a book everybody can read. This is not a book everybody would love, but I do think that if you have the stomach for it, this is a book you will cherish, but definitely not a book I would recommend to just anyone. So the next prompt says reflect on your year as a bookish content creator. And in regards to that, we have to look at, goals we met, the good and bad memories, our favorite videos, and okay, that is slightly heavy. Okay, to reflect on it, I started my booktube channel recently, like very recently, like the tail end of October. And I remember when I was starting it, I told myself that if I can just hit 50 to 100 subscribers at the end of the year, I had done well for myself, because I was so terrified of putting myself out there. And now I think as at this point, I'm probably at 490 to 491 subscribers, and it's blowing my mind, because I know how fortunate and blessed and extremely lucky I am, and it's blowing my mind, because yes, I'm definitely meeting that goal. I also set a goal for myself in the later part of in the beginning of this month, that I wanted to make a fairly constant and consistent upload schedule, and so far I've been able to meet that goal, which is also making me very happy. Now the good memories I had have been amazing. Participating in the Witchathon, discovering new content creators and booktubers, the community, the friends I have made here. They are friends that I know will last for a very long time. I love every single one of them. They've been so incredibly fantastic. They've been so incredibly welcoming. I love every single one of them. The friends I've made in this community, easily hands down my best memories. Bad memories has to be when I discovered recently that Daniel Gastino deleted her YouTube channel and went off of Twitter because people apparently had been bullying her and had been leaving nasty mean comments about her, and it was heartbreaking because here is someone that had so much to give. Here is someone whose content I loved and I look forward to, and it was just heart-wrenching that she came on to talk about books, and for the most part the community was warm and accepting, the community I know, and then there were some trolls who went after her and were just being spiteful and mean, and it was just heart-wrenching. That was like that. I think that is hands down the worst memory I've had in this bookish year, because people are so mean. And when you realize that, when you come face to face with that, it sours some things for you. At least for me, it was just heartbreaking. My favorite video of the year, like, choosing is hard because I did make some really cool videos this year that I had a lot of fun making, because it just if I was to choose one though, I'll probably go with my booktuber recognition tag. One, because Jessie of Bow Ties and Books actually came up with that prompt, and I think it's fucking fantastic. A chance to just praise and uplift, and uplift other booktubers, especially because, like I said, our community is made of so many diverse voices and so many people put in so much work and effort into it. And I had a lot of fun, putting together my list and, just basically being as heartfelt as possible and saying all the things I loved about all these wonderful creators. So yes, I think my booktuber recognition tag video is definitely easily, hands down, my favorite video of 2018, which is interesting because for a long time I thought it was going to be my 2019 most anticipated releases, but no, it has to be the booktuber recognition tag. I had so much fun making that video, and the response has been so heartwarming. Like, this community is just fucking brilliant and fantastic, and I love it. Okay, so the next prompt says to tag some bookish content creators, and okay, so Kevin has tagged a lot of people I wanted to tag, and I don't want to do a double tag because I do want to share the love, and I do want this tag to go places, because I think it's a beautiful way to wrap up the year. Okay, so I'm gonna tag Aza of Dreaming of Books. I'm going to tag Katie of Katie's Book Nook. I'm going to tag, I think I wanted to tag Jake, but I think Jake said he's not doing any new videos this year, but I'm going to tag him anyway. Jake does books. So whenever you do decide to make this tag, please respond, Jake. I'm also going to tag Cindy of Read with Cindy, just because I think our year has been very interesting and I definitely want to see the highlights. And I'm going to tag Rhiannon of Crescent Moon Reads. So yes, that's about it. Once again, a big thank you to Adam for creating this tag and Kevin for tagging me. You both rock. I definitely had a lot of fun with this tag. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I make new videos every Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I will see you soon. Bye.